Hey Coleman Crew Squad, we're back with another video, and today it is just me in the room. Y'all, please excuse my hair. I've been wanting to do a video like this, but I always feel like there will never be just a perfect time to record. So I might as well just go with the flow and do it. As you can see, I need to redo my hair, but I am a mother of 8. I put myself last when it come down to combing heads or whatever. So I've done everyone else's hair pretty much but my own. So just excuse that. But I just wanted to touch bases because everyone have a story. But there's no such thing as someone's story being, better than the next, especially when there are hard times that others might not see or others don't reveal. You get what I'm saying? I wanted to just share my story with y'all. Before I became a mother of 8, from when I was little growing up to how I became the person who I am today. Well, first, let me say, my name is India. I stayed with my mom. I'm originally from North Carolina. I know of my daddy, but my daddy has been in and out of my life since the time I was a child to the time I am grown with my own kids now. He's still up and down, in and out, call here and call there type thing. I am the oldest of my mother kids. She had 3 kids. I am the oldest of me, Ivory, and Jeremiah. On my daddy's side, I was the only girl, the only granddaughter, and I have 2 deceased siblings, which were my 2 brothers, my older brothers. So yeah, so we stayed in North Carolina from the time I was little, and then we moved to Louisiana. When we moved to Louisiana, that's where my mama, that's where my mother family is from. So she moved down to Louisiana, and when she moved to Louisiana, that's when she met my stepdaddy. Eventually down the line, her and my daddy did move to Louisiana together, but he kind of fell off, went his own way, and my mama went her own way, and that's when she met my stepdaddy. And when she met my stepdaddy, then that's when they got married, and eventually my sister came. When my sister came, we are 4 years apart, so he was married. I didn't grow up knowing that he was my stepdaddy. My mama raised me to where I thought he was my daddy. And within a relationship, it was not the perfect marriage. There was many altercations and stuff that I witnessed, a lot of things that I witnessed as a child that I should have not seen, not knowing which way to turn to, which way to, when I say which way to turn to, meaning like, I don't know if I should try to help save my mama, pick up the phone, dial 911, or just sit here and put the phone down because he told me I better not pick up the phone. I witnessed a lot growing up. So my mama kind of got fed up with it. So we moved back to North Carolina. And that was to kind of free herself from the situation she was tangled and tied up with. So when we moved to North Carolina that second time, I was in the 1st grade or whatever. So we stayed down there, and we moved with my uncle, and we lived in his basement for a little bit until my mama got on her feet. And eventually we moved into our own place, and started a life there. Like, she's refreshed, started a different journey. And I loved it up there. It was just us and my uncle and his family, and that was it. Like, she's refreshed. She didn't care about who she knew and like who she didn't know. Like, I'm basically saying like how we here in Texas and we don't know anybody. That's kind of how it was there. My mom only knew my uncle and his family, but then when we start going to church, we had church family, and we stayed in church, y'all. We stayed in church from the time Sunday. We had like 3 Sunday services. We went to Bible study. I went to children's church. That church was so active. We had PDY. That church name was Christian Provision Ministries in Sanford, North Carolina, and it's just a different, and like, you know how they say different environment. That atmosphere for that church it'll make you want to go to church, especially as a child. Like, it was fun for us to do. So anyways, back to the story. We then eventually, after a few years later, we end up moving to another part of North Carolina. Like, it was more like in the country. But that's when I remember I met my daddy. She had a man sitting in the living room and was like, "This is your daddy." I'm like, "What?" Thought such and such was my daddy. Anyways, I was a bit confused, but that's when she properly introduced me to my real daddy, and I got to know him and my other side of the family more. Stayed down there from the 1st grade to the 5th grade. After my 5th grade year, that's when we moved back to Louisiana. I believe my mom, she missed her mama, and she just wanted to come back to what she knew was home. Where you going? Like I said, it would never be a perfect time for me to share my story with y'all. So I am not going to stop and try to make my kids be quiet, because we are a family with a lot of kids. So when we moved back, some way, somehow, my stepdaddy came back in the picture. Of course, he had my sister as his child, but it's like he was doing so much for me and my sister, buying us a go-kart, letting us come spend a weekend with him by his family house, let us go in the grocery store and pick up all kinds of food, all kinds of stuff to eat, stuff like that. It's basic. Like, I felt like he was priving us for us to go back and tell my mama, we did this, mama, we did that, and that's exactly what we did. And I don't know if that got in her head. They got back remarried, y'all. Yes, they did. And after that, I didn't kind of feel that vibe no more. Like, I feel like it was just for show. Like, it was not the same at all. It was more stricter. Didn't want us doing much. Didn't want my mama doing much. It changed, not for the better, for the worse. But anyways, y'all, that's when I noticed that our vibes within my mama household was not the same. It's like we was clashing more than connecting. So, like, he was very strict. And I understand, like, ages 8 till whatever, you should be doing chores and cleaning up. Like, we didn't have that problem. I didn't have that problem. That's why I became OCD, because I stayed cleaning up. Like, he used to have us taking out glasses from the cabinets, wiping and dusting. Like, a mobile home, because that's what we lived in. Most mobile homes kitchen setup, like, it's a lot of cabinets, so we used to have to do that. Cleaning up, washing, and well, my mama pretty much washed. We just used to have to fold and just keep the dishes and stuff cleaned, keep our room clean. I stayed changing my room around. I stayed reorganizing. The main thing too, we had to cut the grass, pick up the sticks in the yard. Only time we cut the grass is like when he was on the road, and when he came home, we still used to have to do a pull the trash to the road. I would say, I guess, being that we were girls and it wasn't no brothers in the house, and he did drive trucks, like, I guess if we didn't do it, our mama would have had to do it. But we used to do stuff at a young age that I felt like it was not for women to do. It was like a man's job. As time passed by, got older, wanted to stay on the phone with my friends and stuff. I couldn't have phone calls after 9 o'clock. That's when me and my husband took place with wanting to be on the phone a lot. And that was before man even came about. We were friends before we became boyfriend and girlfriend. And when we would stay on the phone, thinking we would stay on the phone late at night, and my stepdaddy would pick up the phone. As soon as AJ would call, like, I was too embarrassed to say, don't call me after 9 o'clock because I can't have phone calls. I used to just rather him try to call and see if I can try to pick up the phone and turn off the ringer off the house phone to make sure my mom and them didn't hear it. But as soon as that phone light up, or I check the caller ID to just keep on looking at to see if the number gonna pop up, on the callers phone. I don't know if back then it would light up with the green when the phone is ringing, or red. So that's how I knew he was calling me. But sometimes that it'd be right there, like just waiting, pick up the phone, and you can't have phone calls after 9 o'clock. Click. AJ used to think that was so funny, but he ain't paid no mind. It's like it bothered him more that I had to go through some of the things that I went through, and he couldn't save or protect me. So yeah, when I did voice my opinion about things with my stepdaddy, like, some stuff is just too much. We couldn't call him. Like, that was my thing. Some of them made us call him Pops. Ivory couldn't even call him Daddy. Like, I couldn't call him stepdaddy. I couldn't say Mr. such and such. I had to call him Pops. So when I started voicing my opinion with some stuff, he just was doing too much. So from 13, 14-ish, my teenage years, becoming a teen, I wanted to go certain places. I wanted to hang out with my friends, and sometimes I couldn't. Or, if you're not in this house by such and such time, don't even come knocking on the door. And most of the time when I would leave out, I was going with somebody that had a vehicle, which was like an older cousin or something. And sometimes they might have not been ready to come in. So I've missed curfew, to which I done came knocking on the door. I couldn't get in the house. I had to go stay by their house. And then when I got home, you best believe I was about to be punished. You hear me? Punished. So I've got in trouble for that because I want to stay out and have fun. It's been several times where I just used to get so upset. I used to try to write my mom a letter because every time it seemed like I wanted to open up and talk to my mom about something, it's like he was always there. Like, so I couldn't have that bond with my mama the way I wanted to communicate with her. So I used to have to write her letters, y'all. I used to have to write my mama a letter. Didn't have a phone to text, so I used to have to write her a letter and begging her, can I go please stay with my cousin? My cousins are either my grandma, like, just, I never forget in that letter that I once wrote her was like, I'm not trying to break up your marriage. If this what you like, this what you love, I will free myself from this. if you allow me to go stay with my grandma, you know, the cousin or something, it's like, you know, you scared to choose rather, you know, your husband or your kids. That's what my mama battled, y'all. Like, she didn't know how to balance that out. So she just remained at peace. She silenced herself and really didn't say too much about anything unless it just went too far. When she would, you know, say no whenever they would try to come get me, I would have my stuff packed and be ready to go. I'm like, just say the word. They on their way. My cousins used to be outside trying to talk to her, and they were like, Indy not grown. She can't make her decisions for herself. She can't do this and she can't do that, you know. So I used to go back in my room. I was that child. Like, I wouldn't say I had a bad temper, but that used to really make me mad to where I just used to go in my room and just slang all my stuff in my room. And it felt so good afterwards to knowing I could just pick it back up and fix it back again, but it just gave me relief. I got tears in my eyes now, y'all. It gave me a relief to just, and that was that. Like, eventually, years down the line, my mama let me go stay with my grandma. Before she let me go stay with my grandma, though, that last incident that happened between me and my stepdaddy, right when I was able to go out with AJ, he was my boyfriend at the time, his mama gave me something to protect myself. It was nothing illegal wise, but it was something to keep me safe. And one day he came in my room. Remind you, I forgot to mention, when stuff didn't go his way, I used to, like, I'm in here with the light on now. I think, y'all, that's another reason why I'm so used to walking around in the house in the dark or washing dishes without the light. My husband, like, I can't see. Like, I had the blinds open and stuff. He used to come in there unplugging lights, taking light bulbs out the wall, unplugging the TVs and stuff. Like, when things didn't go his way, or when I used to say something back to him, that was his way of trying to teach me a lesson. Taking cards out my TV. I couldn't watch TV. Couldn't be on a house phone, unplugging a house phone, and just doing evil stuff. I felt like it was evil. So that last incident that happened, I don't know what was said or what was done. I just know that I had enough. Like, yeah, I'm young, but ain't no way you should treat, you know, a child that you call your child. You got the name tatted on you and whatever, but there's no way that I felt like there was love. So I said what I felt was needed, or I done what I felt like needed to be done in certain occasions. And that one occasion, he came in my room all rowdy, like he was ready to go head to head with me. And that little protection that my mother-in-law gave me, I remind you, she was, you know, my boyfriend's mother at the time. I had it, and I ain't pull it out, but I had it on the side of me. And he snatched my cards out, like, he snatched my cards out my wall. And let me note this, with this situation here, y'all, I forgot to mention, I had eventually got my own house phone. I paid my own house phone bill. I had my own house phone line, or whatever you call it. I had my own house number. I done hair from middle school, from like the 6th, 7th grade all the way up into the 8th grade year. I was doing grown folks' heads, people I didn't know heads. They used to come to my mama house, come to my room. I had my room set up. So yes, I handle my business to where I was working independently, making my own little money, stay having heads from sun up to sundown, turning, stuff off right before it's time to be getting up for school. Like, I'm waking up, still going to school, doing my own hair, micro braids and stuff was installed, the fake dreads with the cankalon twist. I used to do all that, braids, flat irons, all kinds of stuff, y'all. So yes, I had my own house phone, and he called himself coming in and janking that whole, like, the part you connect in the wall so that the line can work. He snatched it out. And when he did that, I felt like that was my way of talking to AJ or whoever else, for as my friend girls and stuff, because I was only talking to AJ, for as friends wise, like boys wise. He was my boyfriend eventually down that line. So yeah, he seen me with that, and he called himself trying to go get a gun. My mama seen him pass in that living room. She jumped up. What is you thinking you about to do? She's a child. She's a child. She thinks she distant that. He didn't know what it was, but it was like a pocket knife, y'all. And it didn't close, so I couldn't just close it. It was a kind, like, it was like a 2-blade thing. I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. I don't feel like I was wrong. I don't feel like I was right. I just felt like I had enough. You know how far or how much you can take, with certain stuff, trauma, anything that go on in your life. And I just felt like I had enough. And I didn't pull it up. I just had it on the side of me. I don't know how far I would have went, to be honest. So he didn't make it past me with the gun. My mama, she calmed him down, but it was just a point. You know what happened after that, y'all? I got tears in my eyes. I had to go stay with my cousins. I had to go stay with my cousin. I didn't hear from my mama. Like, that night after that happened, I didn't even hear the words that a daughter should hear from her mother to comfort her, especially knowing that your husband was about to pull a gun out on your child. I didn't even cry then, y'all, but after all these years, it's like it's a release. So yes, I had to stay with my cousin for like 2 weeks. She opened up her doors to me. After that incident, after those weeks passed by, I ended up having to go back. And from there, first job was IHOP as a waitress for like 8th grade up until summertime. So from like May to July. It was for a few months before school started back. And in the midst of my middle school, I'm going to go back a little bit. In the time from my middle school till 8th grade, so from the 6th to the 8th grade when we moved back, I was called so many different names from family members and all, because I looked at the things that they done when we were younger, and I was trying to follow within their same footsteps. But the difference between that was I used to get caught doing certain things I may have not had no business doing. So I was getting called different names for the same things that they children was doing, but they children wasn't getting caught doing it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm looking at my cousins thinking that that's the right thing to do. Remind you, I came from a Christian family from, like I said, when we was in North Carolina, we stayed going to church. When we moved down here, that's when I got with other cousins and stuff, trying to, do stuff I thought I was supposed to be doing. So, yeah, that didn't bother me because I knew who I was. I knew the things, I did make some mistakes, for us meeting little boys that I ain't had no business doing stuff with, and I can share that. I'm not ashamed to say that because, that will happen. But like I said, you just got to be careful. And I thank God I was, but I ended up getting pregnant for my boyfriend. But when that all happened, we was not together. But that name still traveled along with me, saying, oh, she too fast, or she do this, she was doing this, that she got caught doing this. But like I said, I was following behind cousins that never got caught doing stuff. But India was the one that used to get in trouble. So yeah, so back to that, IHOP was my first job. I used to, like I said, I was from doing hair to IHOP. After IHOP, my 9th grade year, I started high school. Moved in with my grandma after that incident because I ain't want to be there no more. Like, I didn't. It was like a love-hate relationship. So when I moved in with my grandma, she had other grandkids staying with her. And I had my own little room. Like, my grandma had a trailer, but she had it added on. Like, that back door dropped into like 2 more rooms. So I stayed in that extra room. So yes, I didn't even know how to open up to my mama no more. It was like she just stayed silent, So yes, I stayed there with my grandma and my cousins. And my cousins became like siblings to me. We all grew up together. So my 9th grade year, I was a freshman in high school, going to school with my cousins, riding with my cousins to school. I was popular for my age to say I was a freshman. I hung with my big cousins. I was still dating AJ. We, got more serious, and my house phone eventually became a cell phone. Time passed by. My grandma allowed me to have company over. He couldn't stay after a certain time, but I was able to start doing more with him because I ended up getting pregnant my 10th grade year, which was when I was 15 going on 16. So I end up getting pregnant, still staying with my grandma, still going to school, still, making honor roll and stuff. That's when I got my first car, my 10th grade year. My mom and them bought me a lit Dodge 2-door Neon. They got me from point A to point B. It used to run hot, but I worked at Sears. My cousin got me on at Sears. I was a little cashier, and my mama and our relationship was still kind of afar. It was not the way it should have been. It was not the perfect relationship that a mother-daughter have. Of course, when we living in, 2 different households, but I felt like she was more at peace, focusing on her and her marriage and the other kids, because eventually my brother then came down the line. As a matter of fact, he came before I actually moved. And I used to carry Jeremiah just like he was my baby. Like, helping comb his hair, getting him dressed and stuff like that, you know, being a big sister. But I gave them room to either figure it out, grow, do whatever they was gonna do. I don't have it wrote out like a timeline, this happened and that happened. I'm sorry if I'm going back and forth with saying, oh well, this is that, you know, I'm kind of speaking on it as I remember. But like I said, I got caught things that was not cute for a teenage young girl. You're not saying that I was like a hoehead, because I wasn't. It's just like I said, I was watching my cousins and then got caught doing something I had no business doing. Like, not getting actually caught, but having the boy tell everybody, and then my cousins told their mama, and when they mama found out, she told my mama. But remind you, they didn't get caught doing whatever they was doing. But when I stayed with my grandma, it was, you know, that's how I learned how to cook. Granted, I did cook cornbread and stuff, but my mama stayed in the kitchen. All we had to do was clean up and stuff, you know, and do yard work and stuff that I felt like nobody, a young little girl, shouldn't be out here pulling no trash and picking up all these sticks and just unnecessary. If it had rocks in the yard that was in the grass, he'd make us try to pick up the rocks too. Like, it was just unnecessary stuff. So my grandma, she was a grandma. She tended to her grandkids. She cooked. She cleaned. We didn't have to do none of that. Like, she stayed handling her business. She handled her duties as a grandma. My grandpa died when I was a baby. So the papa that I knew, he would be outside helping him. I learned how to make sure AJ needed a bottle of water, a towel, because that's the stuff my grandma used to go outside and pass my papa while he was out there doing work. She liked her yard and stuff to be well kept, because that's where we had family gatherings and stuff too. Once the 10th grade hit, I ended up getting pregnant. And that was like a trend in high school. One friend got pregnant, and we decided we wanted to have a baby. And man, was planned. I didn't just slip up and get pregnant. One, I was not on no type of birth control. We knew what we was doing. Although we were young, we had goals that we shared over the phone way before man even was thought about. Like, we manifest in each other's life. Like, said we wanted to be married, said we wanted to have kids, said that we wanted to get our names tatted on each other. Like, that's stuff that we actually talked about, like, way before man was born. Like, way before. You know how some kids or some young girls get pregnant and have a baby, and it be like, oh mama, I ain't trying to do it type thing. No, that was not our situation. And AJ just, you know, we were just speaking on it. I wouldn't say when they first met, but when they first got together, with, you know, bonding or whatever. I wanted some highlights or whatever. My mother-in-law done hair, so she offered to do my mama hair. That was their way of connecting. So we would go outside. I'm eating and stuff, and we'll go outside laughing, because that was when they didn't know, but we did. That was before I actually went to the doctor. Never forget when I eventually started getting sick, throwing up, and couldn't eat my favorite Fruity Pebbles and stuff, and I had to call my mama, because you know we wasn't staying together. So I had to call her one time and was like, Mama, I need to go to the doctor. She was like, and remind you, me and AJ hadn't already got the pregnancy test. I knew I was pregnant. I just couldn't fix my mouth to say, Mama, I'm pregnant. So I was like, Mom, I need to go to the doctor. I don't feel good. She's like, what's wrong? I was like, my stomach hurt. And just left it at that. She take me to the doctor. They asked me when was my last cycle, and I'm like, I don't know. They drew my blood, and for sure, like an hour later, I had to wait for the results. I was pregnant. And guess what? My mama did not fuss at me. She did not yell at me. You know what my mama words was? You was gonna finish school. And I guess I'm about to be a Mima. She did not fuss at me. Like, she did not. She embraced it. Like, that's when she kind of opened her arms up more to me. You know how you need that hug type thing? Like, that's how that was. I just wiped my face again, y'all. But yeah, she embraced it. You know, AJ, we eventually laughed about it over the phone. Like, now she knows. So I'm asking AJ, have you told your mama? So yeah, she was the one that fussed or said, my son having a baby, my baby having a baby or something. Like, yeah. And like, she didn't make me feel no type of way about it.